see, back in the old days too, a lot of people didn't understand what was possible. A lot of people just looked at, when you're digging a water system, you put the pipes on the ground or you put them kind of near the ground. No one ever really thought of like doing the pipes in the ground, like deep in the ground, like 1,000 feet down. Back in the old days, like nobody, like I put it to my people, I was like, well, why do we need a pipe anyway? Why don't we just dig it in the rock? And well, the rock does leak, but I mean, I think actually I had done some other water things. So when I was working with Germany, I was like, or when I had to do a water system one time, I was like, well, we used to do it in the ground where you just dig it in the rock. Why can't we just continue doing that? And I guess maybe they might not have done that before. I'm not exactly sure. But I had a city. At some point in time, I bought Germany. I basically bought every square foot of open land in Germany, pretty much. I was like, okay, this is going to be mine. So my people went around and they bought everything in Germany. So where every square foot of Germany was my property. So, and then being that it's my property, well, now I need to make money with that property. So I needed to have factories and do it right. And part of that was digging in the ground and digging a water system for some of the towns because they didn't have water. So I was like, well, all right, we're gonna need a water system and everything. So they started telling. So we started mining it, and I was like, well, why don't we just mine it? We can use the rock and make metal out of it. Anyway, so they started mining, and we started building like big dams and stuff like that. I mean, we started figuring out the dams because I was like, why don't we just mine it and get the rock, and we'll just melt down the rock and make metal out of it, and also use the dam, create some dams, and we can use power from that too. Why don't we just do it that way? And Germany very quickly, got behind me. It was like, yeah, you know, and like I said, a lot of people in Germany, a lot of people around the world didn't really understand the huge amounts of money that's in the ground. I was like, there's money in that ground. There's huge amounts of money in mining. Like if we can get to the rock and we can blast it or whatever, then there's massive amounts of money down there. I mean, there's metal for days, like gold, silver, everything's in the ground. Like 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 later on, I was telling my people, I was like, you can go like 500 feet and you'll hit an iron ore thing or something down there. Like you can't go like 10 miles and not hit something down there, especially when you get down there down to about when you get like 1,000 feet down and 2,000 feet down into the harder, denser stuff. There's usually something down there. I've never actually dug a mine, I don't think, and not found something. Or I mean, the rock always has some metal amount in it. It's a matter of getting the metal out of the rock. So there's always and rock's not just rock. Rock's always a conglomerate of a lot of other minerals and particles. So there's always something in the rock, even if it looks solid. It's not really solid. It's a little bit of this, a little bit of that. Like degrees of other things. Anyway, so basically, or something useful out of the rock. You can always get something useful out of the ground. So anyway, so they were digging the mining. They're doing the mines and stuff for the water systems, and also doing like the dams and stuff in Germany. So I mean, I wasn't paying my people all that much, but they're making good progress, and I think they found quite a bit of stuff down there. I mean, you always find something in the ground. There's one mine where it's like, ooh, I'm 2,000 in the hole, and there ain't no sign of anything useful. So, so I was like, there were a couple where it's like, well, it's not going to pay out today, but we'll get money out of the farming at least. So like food sales was because it was going to feed farms, and then I would make money from the farms. And I stayed away from the cocaine plantations, though. I was like, well, I want real food, not just cocaine. We don't just do cocaine crops because I know they're more profitable and all that other stuff. But I like real crops, like grains and trees and stuff like that. Although it also gets cold in Germany, so you got to go with what's available. But anyway, but I mean, usually, 3 or 6 months. I think grain's like 4 month crop or something like that. I used to know what the crops were and all that. I used to be really into it. I used to be like, well, grain's like this crop and that's like that crop. I used to be really into it, but I'm not anymore. But that's how I ended up owning so much is because a lot of people didn't really see any metal or any value in building cities. Nobody saw any value in building cities. Nobody saw value in digging in the ground. They just thought that's a lot of work and that's a lot of pain and it's not worth doing. And I was like, yeah, it is. And so like I said, the revolution, industrial revolution was me, Lucifer Star, because like, yeah, it's worth it. So, I got a bunch of other people to get down there. I mean, it's a lot more worth it to actually start digging in the ground and doing actual work than it is to go kill people and fight because the end result, like I say, is history in the making, and you actually do something worth doing. So, how I ended up with Germany and a lot of these other places where, like I was putting in like a $30,000 water system. Like back then it was like a $30,000 water system or a $300 water system where it's like this huge mammoth, like 60 feet wide, 2,000 feet down, and 10 kilometers that way, and you have your mine and all that stuff. So, and we would go down like 1,000 feet or so, and then we'd just come back up because because water systems are really really easy. There's usually elevation drop, and so usually it's just like gravity feed down and then back up. So you don't really have to worry about going down really deep and then coming back up. Like I say, usually I just tell people go deep, go deep and then level out because all the nice solid materials, you're going to want to get down deep anyway because you want to get down there about 1,000 feet or 2,000 feet and then you want to start going out. So you have your best drop or drop like this, and then you start, and then you get down there low and then you just, although it doesn't work out like that. Usually it's more like, kind of like that. But either way, as long as you get there. So in Germany, we were doing all those water systems, and that's how I ended up with owning Schleiser or Schlizer or whatever, because, we were doing the mining and stuff like that. And then, I owned Germany. I bought Germany and then had to create a company to do that mining, and that ended up being Schleiser or Schleiser or whatever like that. Like I said, that's how I ended up owning countries, is I built the countries. I was like, there's money in them dar hills and them dar ground. So they started mining and started blasting, and the next thing we have this big mine and stuff like that. And because I did it in Egypt, I did it in Rome, I did it all over, where the rock is your pipe basically. And then if you want, you basically, the simplest thing is first you just dig it, and then if you want to make it look nice, you put stuff in it, like stuff like that. But for the most part, when you're down 1,000 feet, you're not really going to get water leaving it so much as stuff coming into there, and that's a problem too. And there's always problems like methane pockets and all that other stuff. It's like you get down there and you hit something, and then you got to wait for it to clear out or got to recuperate. Like nowadays, they actually recoup the gases down there. They actually, it's like, oh, there's methane, and then you go use it. So it's a little bit different nowadays. Over the years we got a little bit better, and plus the steam engines and the pumps, we used to pump it out and then we put it in a tank and then whatever. Anyway, lots of different techniques for that over the years. So, and that's how I ended up owning Germany and all these other companies, because from that one country comes like 300 or 1,000, and basically I'm pretty much the Lord Protector and ruler of Germany. I built the whole country. I can look back at it and go, oh yeah, there's photos of that. Yeah, I remember that. Oh God, 2,000 in the hole, and there was no sign of any real metal. Yeah, at least not back then. Later on, we actually came out pretty good, but we eventually did find something. It's like, oh, good, we found something. I started to get worried. And then we find something that's useful. But you still make money off the crops and stuff like that, and also off the water and the water meter and the people. So a little bit of money. Eventually we get paid back, but anyway.